Hello and welcome to today's episode of Two Pigs in a Pod, a podcast for the people of Glazing by the people of Glazing. I'm your host George, and a warm welcome to today's guest. It's Window Warehouse's Remi Cake. Welcome to Two Pigs in a Pod, Remi. How are you?
Very well, Tav. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, pleasure to get you on. So yeah, we always do, as we always do on this podcast, we like to guests to introduce themselves and what they do within our wonderful world of glazing and fenestration. So yeah, who are you and what do you do?
Wonderful world. So I'm Remi Cake. I'm managing director of Window Warehouse. We're based in Portsmouth, and we're celebrating our 40th year this year in the glazing industry. Been one hell of a ride so far. I've been in it for 16 years, but my dad Malcolm Cake started it all them years ago, 40 years ago.
Nice. And yeah, obviously, like you said, you're sort of following in your dad's footsteps. Was that always the plan to follow in his footsteps and come into the world of fenestration, or did you have other plans and, like we always do, kind of fall into this industry?
Yeah, I don't think when anyone leaves school they think I'm going to go sell windows for a living.
No,
but no, I had no idea that I was going to end up in this role, or even in the industry. When I left school and I went to college, what I wanted to achieve, I wanted to be a professional golfer.
Okay.
I'm completely different to what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Obviously, where I am now, that didn't work. So I lived in South Africa for a year. I left college. I played golf full time. That didn't go exactly to plan. But when I came back, luckily my dad offered me a job in the factory, just while I could, settle my feet, try and carry on playing golf, on the tours, on mini tours, and try and get myself somewhere. But I ended up just staying here. The part-time job fell into a full-time job. And then I ended up working my way through the ranks here at Window Warehouse.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
Yeah, amazing. And like, what was your first kind of impressions of the glazing sector? Like, obviously, you've gone from a completely different background of being a sportsman, or wanting to be a sportsman, professional sportsman. So yeah, when you got on the inside and you're doing that first initial on the factory floor, what was it like?
It was different.
Did you think, wow?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, we've got guys here from when I started 16 years ago that are still here to this day.
Nice.
Probably 6 or 7 are still here.
Yeah.
But the mentality here, it was a family business.
Yeah.
So they welcomed me with open arms, luckily, and they treated me very well. It was in the shop floor. It was very different mentality. There was a lot of windows to make.
Yeah.
Now we didn't have the machinery we have now, so it's kind of the best thing for me, starting from the bottom.
Yeah.
Again, I had no idea that I was going to be carrying on through Window Warehouse, and it's the best thing I ever did, really.
Yeah, nice. And did you, before you started, or when you first started having those conversations with your dad, did you have any of those conversations about the industry and what you were sort of maybe getting yourself into of an industry, or did you kind of just want to be a bit going a bit blind and sort of learn your way on your own?
Yeah, so how it happened, essentially, I was in the shop floor. It wasn't on there for a great deal of time, and my golf wasn't working out how I wanted it to. And I remember the conversation, we were in the kitchen, and he said, well, why don't you come and do some sales? Come give sales a go.
Yeah.
And what I need at the moment, we had only one in sales at the time, who was a girl called Annie, who was here for a number of years. She was fantastic. And when I got into the sales environment, my job was just quote calls. So all I did was on the phones all day, following up everything that Annie had quoted.
Yeah.
And that was a tough old job.
Yeah.
But it gives you the confidence, especially when you have no idea what you're calling for, really. Don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah,
So wing it. Do you want a window? And it kind of just progressed from there. I went from quote calling to quoting, and I was an estimator for a number of years, a long time here alongside Annie. So watching us grow and the orders coming in, there's a couple of milestones that I remember very well. When we were hitting certain targets that look back on now, and it's it's incredible, really.
Yeah. And is that why you sort of got that sort of adrenaline buzz of reaching targets and stuff? Do you think
Well,
that's why you initially stayed, with got coming in cold
yeah,
into the industry, but that was the first sort of realization that you actually enjoyed it was the
yeah.
sales side?
And I mean, I took to it quite well. I enjoyed it, but even then, I still didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I remember, I think after a couple of years in sales, I remember going to my dad saying, I want to stay in sales, but I want to go into the sporting industry.
Yeah.
So, as good dads do, he let me wander off.
Nice.
I wanted to move to London. Had a few job interviews, in the golfing sector, selling golf attire and things like that. And
Yeah.
they didn't come off. And then when that didn't work, I just threw everything into here.
Nice.
And as we were progressively growing, slowly, I was enjoying it more and more. Of course, it means more
Yeah.
because my dad runs it. And, at the time, my mum was there. I had cousins in marketing; like they were everywhere. Cakes were everywhere.
Yeah.
So it was enjoyable. Like I've never not enjoyed a day at Window Warehouse.
Nice. Nice. And obviously you've made that you've made even further of a journey, but you become the sales director. How did that feel when you became the sales director? So obviously taking over the reins of all the sales, and how did it feel to be in that quite prominent role? We know how the industry is and is now, but it's always goes through peaks and troughs of good being good and not so good. But how did it
Yeah.
feel for you to become sales director and lead the sales operations?
It was everything. I mean, moving through, the estimating department, I've seen people, people stay for a number of years.
Yeah.
I've got customers that buy from us now that was, the first people I ever bought on, all them years ago. So it's quite special, really. It's quite nice that, you see the relationships that Malcolm had with these people that are now in, that generation that are kind of coming to retire.
Yeah.
And the relationships that I've built throughout those years from when I first started that are still customers now. And I've now got relationships, professional, but yet, they're still friends as well.
Yeah.
So, you build it, but becoming sales director was amazing.
Nice.
I had the one good thing that I've always had here. Of course, I've had backing from Malcolm, but it actually can be hard on me at the same time.
Of course, yeah.
Which, but I mean, I wouldn't change it. But I've always had the backing from the board of directors at Window Warehouse. They've been fantastic through everything. Nothing was ever handed to me. I had to work hard for everything that I got.
Yeah, definitely. And do you think you mentioned there a couple of times about the relationships that obviously Dad had and you have with your customers? Do you think that's the number one thing of why you've reached 40 years as a company, is that relationships that you've got with people that you started off with that you're still dealing with now, what your dad did and still dealing with, is that, do you think that's the kind of the number one? We know how sort of personable our industry is, but would you say that's the same for you? That's
massively. I mean, we being a local company in Portsmouth, we obviously deal with a lot of local businesses, your one-man bands that, and are the same importance as the guys that have got 5 to 10 fitting teams, but the relationships you get, people buy from people still. We're not the cheapest, but we give good service. When we look after our customers, it matters. To us being we are family run. And when something isn't going right, it matters. So the fact that they can call us, that's the one thing. We're at the end of the phone. No matter how big or small the customer is, if it's a problem, we've got to sort it out. And that's how we managed to retain, a number of our customers, because they trust us.
Nice. And looking back over your career and maybe even now, like you've mentioned a couple there, but has there been any sort of mentors or influential figures apart from who you named, or if you want to go into more detail about how they've helped you throughout your career?
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself very lucky. throughout my career so far. I mean, the support I've had, obviously, on Malcolm, my dad,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
my biggest supporter.
Cool.
Been there through everything, every business decision we make together. Never had an argument to this day. I have the utmost respect for him and what he's
Yeah.
achieved. And when he talks, you listen.
Yeah.
And I mean, but recently, over the last couple of years, I've got more involved with whether it be suppliers, whether that be other competitors. The PiGs Day we talk about in Bristol. It's great
Yeah.
to see people, and the relationships you build are quite incredible. Because I'm 32 in the industry as MD, so in our industry it's quite young.
Yeah.
I've had some fantastic people over the last year that's supported me through everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Russell at our UK, he's at the end of the phone. There's not many MDs of the size of that you can just call him, and he'll answer the phone. And if you've got anything you want to talk about, he's there.
Amazing.
I'll have a shout out to Robert Plays Right. Since the last year, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like a mentor, incredible mentor recently.
Nice.
Considering he does exactly the same as us, there's no reason why he should give me the time of day.
Yeah.
But he's given me a lot of tips and looked after me the last few months. Big shout out to him, really.
Nice. And I think that sums up the industry, though, doesn't it? Like you said, that regardless of if and we see, like you mentioned at PiGs, you can be competitors, but the conversation is always there, regardless of if you're doing the same thing or not, or you're it's one of your customers, suppliers, whatever it may be. The conversations are always good, aren't they? They're always, there's no sort of negativity around talking to other people, which I think is quite. We've done this podcast a while now, and I think it's quite unique for our industry to be that open and honest with each other and have those conversations where you could really say as a competitor, no, sorry, you're doing the same as me. I don't want to give you anything that you might use against me or, to get better. It's, it just kind of shows what our industry is like.
Yeah, I think I think the mentality is definitely starting to change. Industry, I think when I first started in it, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was an industry that you initially, looked at and it's glorified, but I think now, people, it's a difficult industry to be in, and to be successful and to be going for 40 years and all the other guys that have been going for, the same amount of time, it's quite impressive. And everybody can just, help each other a little bit. It helps everybody grow in the day, because it's not an easy industry to be in, especially the last few years. It's not easy. So it's a battle most days, but support each other and we'll all be all right.
Yeah, nice. And before we move on to speak about your 40th anniversary celebrations and the plans for the future, obviously you're now the MD, so obviously congratulations of rising to the top. And how did it feel to become the MD, and sort of what your plans for the role over there, obviously without going into too much detail, I'm sure, but what's your ideas that you've got? Have you got lots of ideas that you want to implement over the coming few years?
Yeah, I mean, there's, being made MD was a bit of a shock. I didn't realise it was going to come so early.
Okay.
It come from a board decision, which was fantastic. Really, it's probably the proudest moment I've had in the industry for 16 years, because everything you work for, you always think, oh, I'm hopefully going to go into my Malcolm's shoe at some point. And when it happened a bit earlier than normal, it was sort of goes to show that the hard work you put in is it one recognised, but also it's working. Plans wise, it's just keep your head down, keep doing what we're doing, and keep trying to stay afloat. And I've made a couple of really good appointments within the warehouse at the moment. We've got some new staff on board. We've got Rebecca, our inventory manager, is overseeing our stock. Sean, Alex, our sales manager, is starting in January. New to the industry, but he's at ground running. And
nice.
It's building that management structure to allow myself as MD and Malcolm to look at the big picture and what does the future hold.
Nice. And yeah, obviously, like you said at the start, you're celebrating 40 years of the business this year. How you've played obviously a part of, a big part of reaching those 40 years, but how does it feel for you as a family, I guess, to reach, like, not all companies reach that milestone. We
No,
how does it feel to as a family owned business to reach a massive milestone like that?
yeah, I mean, I don't think it really sunk in until, about a month ago. We
Yeah,
thought, right, we need to really, celebrate this because it's just another year.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
when you sit back and you look at it, I think it's a pretty impressive achievement.
yeah,
Um, you see over so many, companies, rise and fall, and for us to be able to be where we are now, it's a great achievement. A couple of weeks ago, we celebrated it with all the staff. We did a
yeah,
staff summer party, got all the staff together, which was brilliant. We got a brilliant group of employees, and it was nice to celebrate that with them because there's
yeah.
actually, believe it or not, a few of them that have been here for over 20 years.
Wow. Yeah,
Um, and, you could see that it matters to them just as
yeah.
much as it does me. So it was quite nice.
Nice. And what do you think is the key to success to reach 40? Like there's I'm sure there's loads of reasons that you can't just have one or two, but what would you say is the reasons for such longevity? Is it those people that you spoke about that have been there so long that there's always that recurring people there that have been there so long?
I think it's probably, of course, we've got a fantastic group of staff,
Yeah,
and we wouldn't be where we are now without all of their contribution.
yeah,
But I think Malcolm is he's the reason why we're still going 40 years,
nice.
and you sit back and you look at the decisions he makes and the tactics he has and how a lot of people have been through some good and some bad times in this industry. In
Yeah,
40 years, they've been through a recession. Um, we've been through COVID, the Ukraine war, this
yeah,
crisis
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
But I don't think we would be where we are now if it wasn't for him leading it. Really,
Nice.
it's plain and obvious, really, because
Yeah.
when we're in the position I'm in, where I sit, you can just see how influential the decisions he makes. And you sit back, about 3 months' time, you go, that was a good decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a few I told you so's.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever get the time I guess as a dad and a son to actually like appreciate you, like you, just as your dad, like to
Mm.
not just sort of colleagues, but do you actually just ever say, I guess the 40th anniversary is quite a nice place
Oh,
to step back and think, yeah, yeah, well done, Dad. You've done pretty well there.
oh, yeah, yeah. We've definitely, we've definitely sat down and had a few beers together and talk about it and
Yeah,
look at where we were. And where we were when I first started is, if you looked at it where we are now, you wouldn't believe that we could get to where we are now.
yeah,
And that is with all the members of staff, new, old, and obviously him leaving it. But yeah, it's quite impressive. And
yeah,
sit down, have a beer, and go, yeah, that's been decent,
yeah,
done well. Um, each year that goes by, you go another year. Right, let's see what this year holds. See what
no,
crisis comes this year.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and has there maybe in,
yeah,
in the time that you've been at Window Warehouse, has there been any sort of stand-up moments or projects that you've been involved with that,
like,
yeah, again you sit down
like,
over a beer and go, yeah, that was pretty good, what we did there or what we supplied to a project.
yeah. There's a couple of things that you know, coming back from COVID. That was a very uncertain time
Yeah,
for everybody. But there's a couple of things that we did, just before lockdown hit that, we were one of the lucky ones coming out of COVID. Um, and there's a couple of decisions we made, like from a marketing perspective, where back then, we weren't really with it.
yeah,
Portal with the online ordering, being able to design new windows, when everybody was shut at home, we were still cracking away in the office at home, granted,
yeah,
being able to carry on pricing people.
nice,
And when we came back and we were ready to go, the skeleton crew, we'd suddenly picked up 5 or 6 key customers through that,
yeah,
just for, some of the decisions we made just before lockdown. And that was with the help of iCal. who helped us with that. So
Yeah.
that was quite, decision wise, that was fantastic. When you hit milestones for us, it's, sales figures. I'm from the sales, through and through here,
Yeah.
so very sales orientated. And when you hit them milestones, we hit a couple of milestones, let's say 10 years ago, and you look back now and you think do you remember we celebrated that? That is, like we went out and had a few beers, and that was,
Yeah.
that great week, great month. You look at it now and you're like, could you believe we are where we are now? It's all pinch yourself. So yeah, it's been fun.
Nice. And are you got anything else planned for the 40th anniversary? Is there anything sort of in the diary to celebrate after the summer party, or is it just about celebrating where you are and kind of looking to the future, head down like you said, and looking to the future?
Yeah, I mean we've celebrated with the staff.
Yeah.
As much as I'd love to celebrate it with everyone I can think of, this time of year we're just keeping our heads down and just trying to keep on going each day, and looking at where we need to build it, and where do we go forward so we can hit that, I say 50th year, which would be impressive. So really, we met up with a few customers. We did the BBA, the Koenig Golf Day last week. Met up with a few customers, and nice to chat to them people, and they all congratulated us on our 40th year.
Nice.
So yeah, it's just keep going really. We've celebrated it with our staff. They're the ones that serve it, and you could tell that they were happy to be part of it.
Nice. And do you still enjoy the golf? As like you said, there's quite a few golf days within our industry. Do you try and get out as much as you can to them?
I wish there were more, because that's all I play. That's the only time I go out the office to play golf.
Yeah.
So I don't really play much anymore. I was lucky enough to go on the golf day, on the golf holiday last year in September.
Nice.
With GM guys, and that was fantastic. And I play on the golf days. So whoever listens to this, if you've got a golf day,
there seems to be plenty as someone as a non-golfer but a massive sports person wanting to play sport. I feel like I need to get involved with golf and learn. So it might be coming your way for a few tips before
coming down, because they're great days.
Definitely. And before we move on to our next round, what does the future look like for Window Warehouse? Is it, like you said, it's just kind of a heads down and carry on as you mean to go on, or is there of anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I mean, there's a few things we're working on, IT related. We're looking at new products that we can hopefully launch before the end of the year.
Nice.
With our current suppliers, so it's quite exciting at the moment. We've got a couple of commercial projects coming up, which boosts everything. So really, it's just we're looking into the future and how can we get better? How can the service get better? How can the quality get better? Bring on new products isn't the easiest of things to do. It might sound easy to the end consumer, but it's not. The fabrication, the sales, the marketing, you've got to get it right. So really, it's just about concentrating on what we're doing. And just looking at the next month of what we've got coming up, and how do we improve? Because there's always room for improvement. In where you are in the department, like myself, Malcolm, processing, sales, production, is how do we get it better, and hopefully keep expanding.
Nice. And lastly, to end the main part of the podcast, if you could talk to your younger self that had just started at Window Warehouse and you're on the factory floor, what advice would you give them? A young Remi, what kind of thing? Looking at what the amazing career that you've had so far in the industry, what kind of advice would you give younger self?
Advice I'd give myself would probably be, should have quit golf earlier. As much as I enjoyed it, probably got into the industry more and probably not doubted the industry. I had a lot of doubts in this industry for a number of years. Right in the early days, and really it was like opening your eyes and looking at what Malcolm was doing on a day-to-day when, it's a fantastic industry.
Yeah.
And I battled it right at the start. I think a lot of people, like I said at the start, when you leave school, you don't think, I want to go make windows, I sell windows.
No.
But I love it. And I
Yeah.
wish I'd kind of look into, okay, where can I go next?
Yeah.
It just put my head down from day one and gone, right, this is what I'm going to do. That's probably what I would say.
This is for me.
Yeah. Because, it's your life now. I wouldn't change it.
Nice. Well, thanks very much, Remi. Yeah, for the main part of the podcast is done. So we're going to move on to our this or that round now. So if you've seen previous episode or listened to previous episodes, it's just I'll ask you a quick question. It's what you prefer, this or that, but it's nothing too heavy. So yeah. So the first thing I'll ask is, do you prefer being in the office or out on the road?
In the office.
Nice. Do you prefer innovation or tradition?
Innovation.
Yeah. Are you an early starter or a late finisher? Or as MD, probably both.
Early starter.
Nice. A phone call or an email?
Got to be a phone call.
Nice. Are you a city break kind of person when you get time off, or countryside retreat?
It's a city break, I think. As long as there's beer involved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, wherever there's beer involved. Yeah. Are you more of a routine person or like a bit of variety in your life?
Routine.
Yeah. Do you like being a risk taker or risk manager?
I don't mind taking risks.
Nice. Are you hands-on as an MD, or or do you like stepping back and seeing everyone and having your input where needed?
I'm quite hands-on. Yeah.
Nice. Do you like trying something new or perfecting what you know?
I'll try something new.
Nice. Plan everything or sometimes go with the flow?
Go with the flow, just like this podcast.
And lastly, and I think I'm going to know the answer to this, or maybe I don't, but do you prefer live sport or live music?
Live sport.
Yeah, definitely. So that's it. That's the main part of the podcast done. The last part of the podcast is about giving a shout out. So it can be people in the industry, out the industry, friends, family, you name it. So yeah, who your shout out or shout outs for?
Yeah, it's got to be for Remi Cake. Big congratulations on the 40 years.
Nice.
I mentioned earlier in the podcast, the people that have helped me along my journey, Russell, AUK, Chris Kirk, Robert Glazing, they've all been fantastic. So a massive shout out and a thank you to them if they watch this.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much, Remi, for joining us on Two Pigs in the Pod today. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on and hear about your career and Window Warehouse's amazing anniversary. So yeah, congratulations from all us at Pigs, and here's to reaching 50.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been fun.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much for everyone for listening. You can find this episode and all our others on our website www.peopleinglazing.co.uk, on our YouTube channel at People in Glazing Society, and also available to download on Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And whilst you're there, please don't forget to like and subscribe so make sure you never miss an episode. So thanks again to Remi and for everyone for listening, and see you for another episode soon.